New Biden energy rules will raise the cost of a new home by $31,000. Wow, as if things aren't already expensive. I mean, again, y'all know I've been saying this. This is by design. They are intentionally trying to destroy the United States economy. The globalists are intentionally trying to make everything unaffordable for the average American, and they're succeeding. They're succeeding. You would think, um, inflationary times when people are struggling, we're sending all this money overseas. You would think um, they would try to not make things more unaffordable, but that's exactly what they're doing. Again, they're intentionally trying to destroy this economy because that's the only conclusion one would come to by looking at this. Why would you implement these things that most countries are not implementing because the so-called so-called global warming? We don't have the technology to deal with it, and it makes everything else more expensive. But they don't care about that. They care about pushing their agenda, and the agenda is to destroy our economy. And again, they're succeeding at that. So we're gonna talk a little bit about this, but before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button, share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon. That's where I talk about things I can't talk about here. And there's also a link to my Instagram and my merch store. Also, check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for news as well. All right, let's talk about this news. Now, this comes from Zero Hedge, but this is written by Mike Shedlock via mishtalk.com. And Mike reports that new HUD energy rules will raise the cost of home construction by imposing stricter building codes. And you know the mantra that the Biden administration is saying, oh, you're gonna get this, it's gonna pay off in the long run, you'll get some of that money back. Well, payback time is 90 years. It'll be 90 years before you see any benefit from this from this rule, quote unquote rule. And this is how they regulate you into oblivion. They know this would never pass muster through Congress, so they have places like HUD come up with these rules. Departments like HUD come up with these rules and they regulate you into oblivion. But homes to become even more unaffordable. The Wall Street Journal comments on Biden's new plan for unaffordable housing. The Department of Housing and Urban Development is mandating costly new energy standards for new homes insured by the Federal Housing Administration, FHA, which will become de facto nationwide building codes. Now, who was the head of HUD when Trump was in office? That was Ben Carlson, right? Do you think Ben Carlson would implement any type of rules like this? Do you think the Biden administration would implement any type of rules like this that would harm the average American citizen? I think we know the answer to that. I think we know no, this will not happen. This would never happen under Trump. But again, Biden is intentionally trying to destroy our way of life. But HUD last Thursday announced that it will require new homes financed or insured by its subsidy programs to follow the 2021 International Energy Conservation Code standard. International, again, people try to pretend like these international laws do not affect us, but they do. And they take away our sovereignty when you have a globalist like Biden in office pushing these unscientific standards. Like, where did they come up with this stuff? But many governments have declined to adopt the 2021 standards because they care about their citizens, is what I'm adding to this. But because of their higher costs, of course, like I said, because some governments actually care about their people. But the National Association of Home Builders says the energy rules can add as much as $31,000 to the price of a new home. It could take up to 90 years for a buyer to realize a payback on the higher upfront costs through lower energy bills. Not to worry, HUD says taxpayers will help cover the costs. Of course, just throw money at it, right? It is anticipated that many builders will take advantage of numerous tax incentives in the Inflation Reduction Act, which we know causes more inflation, but I digress. As well as rebates that will become available in 2025 or earlier for electric heat pumps and the other building electrification measures, the rule says. Man, we really need to hurry up and get Trump in office. I mean, Biden is really trying to slip in every single rule and regulation and law he can before Trump get in office, because he knows Trump is gonna whoop his butt. But these incentives include a $5,000 per unit tax credit for zero energy multifamily construction that meets prevailing wage requirements that also raise building codes. HUD adds that builders may also, quote, take advantage of certain EPA greenhouse gas reduction fund programs, especially the Solar for All initiative. And we know solar is not reliable either. These alternatives are not reliable. Open up some more nuclear plants. That's what we need. That's what's reliable energy. But I digress. And an investment tax credit that can offset 50% of a solar project cost. Even with the subsidies, HUD estimates the price of a new home will go up by $7,229. You get a $5,000 credit, but only if the builder pays union wages for everything. How much will that cost? My general rule of thumb is to take government estimates and triple them. Great rule of thumb. That's for short projects like building a home, but 10 times would not be surprising. And this is with subsidies. Who are the renters? The answer is young voters and blacks. Generation G home ownership is drastically lower than the home ownership rate of millennials. And according to the National Association of Realtors, the home ownership rate among black Americans is 44%, whereas for white Americans is 72.7%. That's the largest black-white home ownership rate gap in a decade. Now, mind you, this is under Biden, he's supposed to be for the people, right? The latest Case-Shiller housing data shows home prices hit a new record high. Adding insults to cause, the 30-year mortgage rate ended last week at 7.50%. On April 20th, I commented, people who rent will decide the 2024 presidential election. Question: what is it that young voters really have on their minds? A, rent. Answer: rent. Many with rent as their top concern will switch to Trump. They are fed up with rising inflation. Rent is up at least 0.4% per month for 30 months. Young voters propelled Biden over the top in 2020. Things look very different today. Many voters who do not like either Trump or Biden will sit this election out. But let me know what you think about this. Why is Biden really implementing it? Y'all believe, like I believe, like this is a way to destroy our economy? Leave your comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe, and check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.